What's goody? It's your host, Jay Rose, as always. And the first round of the NBA playoffs has wrapped up. In the second round, combatants are set. I'm going to go through each and every single series and tell you who I think is going to come out on top. Let's get into it. Over 90% of the people that watch my content are not subscribed. So if you're messing with the videos, please hit that sub button and the noti bell so you'll get notified every time I upload. But let's get back to the hoops. I just want to start by saying I feel like most of these series are going to have some great basketball. So when I start making my takes, and if I say this team is not impressing me, just know that I think most of the games between these series are going to look pretty close. I think we got some great teams in the playoffs in the second round right now, and we going to get some great hoops. The first series we got here is the Boston Celtics versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. And honestly, I don't have a lot of confidence in the Cleveland Cavaliers. I thought they were going to pack the Magic up very soundly. If you remember my playoff prediction videos before the first round started, I absolutely thought that the Cavs were going to beat the Magic up. And then the first two games, they did just that. Two blowouts, and then we go to Orlando and the entire series changes. It starts to even out. The home team won every single game of that series, which kind of tells me a lot about how the Cavs can play on an away court, and that's only going to get worse with the better teams you face. The Magic are not the Celtics. So if you're going into that series thinking you're just going to beat them every single time on your home floor, and then you think you can lose all the games on their home floor, it's not going to work out like that. They absolutely have to come in, show some aggression, come into the enemy territory, and not completely drop off of a cliff like they did in this series. Like, I need them to come and actually play with some fire, especially against the Celtics, who match up perfectly against this team. They don't have Kristaps right now, so that should give them a slight advantage, but even so, they still got Jrue Holiday. They have Jaylen Brown, they have Derek White, and they have Jason Tatum. Those are all four guys who are great defenders, who are going to match up specifically with each guy at each spot. Jrue Holiday is going to cause major issues for Darius Garland. Darius Garland was already struggling on Jalen Suggs. And I've seen Jrue Holiday lock down Damian Lillard. So there's that. Derek White, one of the best defenders in the league as well, up against Donovan Mitchell. And they can switch that at any point. Jaylen Brown can also switch onto those guys. Jason Tatum can also switch onto those guys. I think the Celtics are going to cause real problems for the Cavs. I'm probably going to go Celtics in 5, maybe 6. I think Donnie can get him a game, maybe 2, but I don't see the Cavs coming out of this one. On to our next series, which is New York versus Indiana. And I'm not going to lie to you, this is another series where I'm just not too impressed with one of the teams here. Indiana, straight up, I don't think y'all should have lost one game. I don't think y'all should have lost one game to the Bucks. Giannis was hurt the entire series. He never came back. And after a certain point, Dame also got hurt. This is a number 1 offense this year. I expected your defense to be kind of suspect, but as the number 1 offense and a team that is also offensively driven with players like Giannis, Dame, Malik Beasley, they don't have a lot of defenders. Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis. Brook Lopez is a great defender. Bobby Portis, he has his moments, but either way, this is not a defensive team. And when you take the best player and best 2 players off of a team that is not defensively oriented, I expect you to win a lot of these games. And I know Dame went off in a couple of these games, but like I said, y'all lost the game without Giannis and Dame. I'm not impressed. And to see what to see what Jalen Brunson did against the 76ers, I think he's going to do even worse to the Pacers. The Pacers do not play defense, and the Knicks are one of the grittiest teams in the NBA. This is an absolute clashing of styles, but also the Knicks offense is not no slouch. Dante DiVincenzo could light you up. Josh Hart could light you up. And we already know what Jalen Brunson is going to do on a night-to-night basis, so I'm just saying I highly favor the Knicks in the series, and I would be disappointed if they lost. We can also just look at seeding. It's a 2-6 matchup. I think the Pacers are a good team, but they just don't have all the pieces needed to make a run right now, I don't think. And the Knicks, they're right there. They're right there. I really do wish they were healthy. I think if Randall was playing and he was playing up to a standard or at least slightly below his average, this team would be absolutely monstrous. But yeah, as of right now, I'm definitely going to take the Knicks in 5-6 games. Like I said, Indiana's still the number 1 offense. If they get hot, they can absolutely steal a couple of games. But I'm just going to take the Knicks. I think they play way more consistent, way more calculated. And they just disposed of the Sixers team, who wasn't even playing bad. So I'm definitely going to take New York in this series. They played a much harder series, came out on top, and then they're going up against Indiana. Yeah, I got New York in 5. Next up, this is a very interesting series. We got the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Dallas Mavericks. And if I'm being completely honest, I think the Mavericks match up with the Thunder very well. Obviously, the Thunder are the 1 seed, but I think a lot of people fail to talk about the fact that the Thunder are one of the only healthy teams this season. I think if the Mavericks were healthy for more of this season, they would have a higher seed, even if it's only like 1 or 2 spots. But either way, I don't think a lot of teams should be afraid of the Thunder this playoff run. I wasn't very impressed with their performance against the Pelicans, who didn't have Zion. Yes, they did sweep them, but either way, on a game-to-game basis, a lot of these games were closer than even the end result suggests. They did get their blowouts here and there, but even the game where it was super duper close and Shea had to hit a game winner and the Pelicans still had a chance to take it, and then CJ took one of the worst shots I've ever seen for a game winner in my life. But either way, I just wasn't really impressed. Like, the Pelicans team without Zion is not good. That team is not good. So for you to make that series look so much harder than it really should have been. Meanwhile, I think the Clippers would have probably swept the Pelicans as well. And even without Kawhi, I think they even had, when Kawhi wasn't playing and they had those games shooting over 50% from three, they looked crazy. They looked absolutely crazy. And even when Kawhi played, I don't think they were that bad. There was one game where they were terrible, but the other game, I don't think they were that bad as a whole. So I'm just saying the Clippers was definitely a way harder matchup, especially defensively. And the Mavericks torched them, literally torched them. Even when they went down 30 points, to come back and only lose by single digits is crazy. And they did that twice. Oh, they lost by more than 10 the first time. I don't know why they keep going down so many points, but those are both games where the Clippers shot otherworldly from three. So if you take those games out, those look like two outliers pretty much, because they did not do that for the rest of the series. So I'm just saying, defensively, Dallas looks crazy right now. Luka's locked in, Kyrie's locked in. We already know what the rest of the squad can do. The defense as a whole, crazy. Luka ain't even have a good series either. I forgot to mention that. Luka did not play well. He shot horribly from the field and horribly from three. So I'm just saying, if he comes in next series and his splits go back up percentage-wise, it's going to look really, really tough for the Thunder, who have also been struggling against the Pelicans. Chet hasn't had a good series. J-Dub didn't have a good series. Shea played okay. I would have expected a little bit more from Shea. And yeah, I just don't think the Thunder really impressed. They're probably going to get punched in the mouth those first couple of games, and I think those are very important. If we can get one in OKC or even two in OKC, it's kind of over, because beating Dallas on their home floor is a hard task. I think we match up really good against them. I just overall think we're the better team at the moment. I'm going to go Dallas in 6. Minnesota versus Denver is one of the most interesting series in the playoffs. I'm not going to lie to you. Especially watching what Ant did game 1 and the way that they actually look better than the Nuggets. They look better than the Nuggets in game 1. Absolutely. Their defensive presence was crazy. I've never seen anybody bother Jokic that much. I haven't seen anybody bother Murray that much. And it definitely looked like their defensive impact is repeatable. It looked calculated. And honestly, that's scary if you're the Nuggets. This is the one team that I feel like matches up well with them. I don't think any other team in the West really matches up well with this team. And I think if they could have avoided the T-Wolves, it would have been easy to the finals. I think the T-Wolves can still lose to other teams, but against Denver, they match up perfectly. And they don't have nothing for Anthony Edwards. And they showed that last game. Anthony Edwards put on a show. He was literally, bro, it was collard greens, yams, mac and cheese. He was eating them up. He was frying them. That was super duper easy. He made that look light. And honestly, making Jokic look like he's having a tough time, and Murray, it just wasn't a great night for them. Honestly, I think they'll most likely shoot better next game. So I think might be a different outcome. They already stole one at Denver though. So this makes this series very, very interesting. Stealing one at Denver is no easy task. They love boasting about that altitude, and Minnesota came in and they got the job done. So listen, if they can win 2 at home, if they win game 3 and game 4, this is a 3-1 series. Let's say Denver wins game 2, they win game 3, game 4. It's a 3-1 series. Obviously, Denver can take whatever games. They're both elite teams this season. But if they do end up going down 3-1, the T-Wolves are going to look like they're in a very, very good spot. But also, we know who Denver is. And I don't think Jokic is going to get locked up like that next game. I don't think Murray's going to get shoot that poorly next game. I think we're going to get a more even and regular game from the Nuggets. So we'll see what happens with that. Honestly speaking, my heart want to say T-Wolves in 7. I probably am going to make a Denver in 7 prediction though. But I really do want to go with the T-Wolves. I really do. Those are all of the playoff series in the second round. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my predictions in the comment section below. And I'll catch y'all in the next one. Can't wait for these games to start, bro. A couple hours, they're going to start actually.